A long time ago, specifically in 1995, a short film aired that terrorized the kids of that time. We're talking about Mickey Mouse's short called Runaway Brain. It was so scary they stopped showing it in theaters, but as time went by, it was slowly forgotten. So that's why, in order to remember it, we'll bring you the case of the scariest Mickey Mouse short. Enjoy! Ya llegamos.
Y esto es
Al Preli.
This short was made by Walt Disney Feature Animation, was directed by the same director of Kim Possible, Chris Bailey, with animator Andres Deya, animation supervisor of characters like Gaston, Jafar, and Scar. The short debuted on April 15, 1995, as a prologue to A Goofy Movie, incredible movie by the way. On August 11 of the same year, it was shown once again before the movie A Kid in King Arthur's Court, and on July 16, 1997, before George of the Jungle.
The short begins during a stormy night. Mickey is home playing what looks like a copy of Mortal Kombat, but with Snow White characters. Mickey Gamer confirmed. Then Minnie arrives to tell him she's very excited, as it's their anniversary night. But like a good manly stereotype, Mickey had forgotten about it in favor of playing video games. So Minnie gets angry at him. Mickey looks for an easy way out of this, and he sees an ad in the newspaper for a miniature golf. Wonderful idea, Mickey! Taking your girlfriend to a miniature golf for your anniversary.
Things didn't go as planned though, as instead of seeing the mini golf ad, Minnie saw a Hawaii vacations ad that was slightly below, which came at the generous amount of $999.99. Oof, at least it wasn't $1,000. Seriously though? These are the cheapest vacations to Hawaii we have ever seen. We investigated prices on the web, and the cheapest we found was $2,000. Actually, what Minnie saw was quite a good offer.
As cheap as that is compared to the real world, Mickey doesn't have that kind of money, so he looks for a job in order to earn it. And it looks like he's having a lucky day, as he found an ad in the same newspaper where they were looking for someone for mindless day work. And he would get paid exactly $999.99.
Mickey goes to the address from the ad, 1313 Lobotomy Lane. Oh, Mickey, be careful with what you wish for. This mindless job may actually be more literal than you thought. Mickey knocks on the door, and immediately a hole in the floor appears and it sucks him down as he lands on a chair that ties his hands and feet. What will happen to Batman? Find out next bad time, same bad place. Mickey meets a crazy scientist who calls himself Frankenolly, and as he makes preparations, he tells Mickey his evil plan, as expected from bad guys. Basically, he will switch his brain with Julius, his most recent creation, who's like Pete, except it's the Frankenstein monster. Why does he want to switch their brains? No idea. Boredom, I guess.
With everything ready, the scientist makes some sort of radiography of Mickey's head, where we can see his brain. This is a crucial moment in Mickey Mouse's lore. From now on, we won't be able to see him the same way as before. Just look at this.
Perfect.
Are they seriously establishing that Mickey's ears aren't ears at all, but instead part of his skull? It's as if he had 3 brains. Wait, could this mean that Mickey is super smart?
After this strange scene, the scientist pulls a lever, releasing copious amounts of electricity and causing an explosion. When Mickey recovers his consciousness, he realizes he's now inside Julius' body. Raising him from the ashes, Mickey asks Frankenolly to give him his body back, but we see that the scientist is actually dead. This is the first time we see a death on Mickey Mouse, and it's quite explicit. As Mickey raises him, his skin and muscles fall on the floor as dust because of the explosion, and then he's only holding his skeleton.
Then we see Julius in Mickey's body, who now has a monstrous appearance with sharp teeth, big eyes, and broken ears. Ugh, I can't stop thinking about how those aren't ears, but instead, that's part of his skull that's broken. Mickey tries to reason with him, explaining that they switch bodies. He tells him to look at the picture in his wallet, which Minnie appears in one of them, and Julius falls in love with her, jumping off to find her. Conveniently, she was in a store right next to the laboratory. How did she not hear the explosion?
Julius finds Minnie, who's looking for bikinis to use in Hawaii, and for some reason she doesn't notice his boyfriend now has sharp teeth and that instead of speaking, he grunts. Suddenly, Mickey breaks into the store, literally, and he warns Minnie about the monster, but she is scared of him, throwing things at Mickey and running away with Julius. On their way, they think they lost Mickey, but he reaches them and he grabs Minnie. She starts to hit Mickey, screaming for help. Minnie, you clearly don't need help. You're beating up this monster. Mickey tells her to stop and explains that he switched bodies with Julius, and she obviously believes him immediately. It actually makes sense. Despite being in a monstrous body, Mickey still has his peculiar voice.
Mickey holds onto a crane and he leaves Minnie on a safe place, the roof of a skyscraper. She cheers on Mickey and tells him to tear Julius's ears off. Stop! Those aren't ears! Mickey swings from the crane, capturing Julius, but they both crash into some cables, which electrify them, giving them their bodies back. Poor Frankenolli, who knows how many years he spent making his machine, when all he needed was some lightning poles from the street. The explosion throws them both to where Minnie is. Julius catches them both as they crash into a billboard. To release himself, Mickey bites Julius's hand, and he throws him away, falling hundreds of meters to his death. The end. Nah, just kidding. Julius tried to kiss Minnie, but she hits him, which makes him mad. So now he tries to eat her? It really looks like there's only one step from love to hate. But before that happens, somebody arrived to rescue her. And that's Mickey? You son of a gun! You're still alive!
As it turns out, Mickey was saved by one of those elevators they use to clean tall buildings. He tells Julius to let go of Minnie and he threatens him with a... Honestly, I don't know what that is. Something to clean building windows, I guess. Julius refuses and he attacks Mickey, but he uses his weapon to jump into the Hawaiian arm from the billboard. He ties a rope to the billboard and then he ties Julius with the rest of the rope, sticking him to it like a yo-yo. In the end, we see Mickey and Minnie in Hawaii on a lifesaver as they are being dragged by Julius on the sea as their slave. So romantic. But wait. How did he get the money for the trip if the scientist who was going to pay him died?
And that's how the short ends. But to understand the impact it had back then, we need to add some context. Before Mickey became a corporate icon, he was a cheating sailor in the 1928 short Steamboat Willie, his debut. This mouse would start in a lot of shorts from the 20s and 30s. But as his fame grew, so did the complaints about his behavior. Because of this, the animators started making a nicer version of him for the children.
Some years later, in the 50s, Mickey Mouse would be the protagonist of the show Mickey Mouse Club. Despite this, his popularity would be crushed by Donald Duck and Goofy's, according to Disney archivist Dave Smith. Mickey started to appear in less and less shorts to the point that there was a 30-year gap between The Simple Things from 1953 and Mickey's Christmas Carol from 1983. On the 90s, Mickey wasn't having much success either, so in an attempt of remaking him commercially, they made Runaway Brain on 1995.
Runaway Brain marked Mickey's return to Disney shorts for the first time in years, and at first, the short's dark nature brought some criticism to it because it was a striking contrast with Mickey Mouse's older cartoons. It could be said this short wasn't as well received because kids weren't used to this style of story. I guess to them, it was like watching a Mickey Mouse creepypasta.
This was heard by Disney, so Andrew Mooney, Disney Consumer Products chairman, spoke about it in the Los Angeles Times, saying he understood the audience and that it's clear Mickey is not himself. He overcomes that at the end, but the very fact that Mickey was possessed was very disturbing.
The short originally was to be shown again before the movie 101 Dalmatians, and they even got sent together to the cinemas, but because of the criticisms it was receiving, Disney requested all theaters to remove the short from their program, replacing it with some trailers for future Disney movies like Hercules and George of the Jungle.
Despite its reception with the children, the short had many accolades. It was shown on the 1996 Cannes Film Festival, which is one of the biggest honors to get in the movie industry. But that's not all. Runaway Brain was nominated as Best Animated Short Film in the 1996 Oscars, losing to A Close Shape, a Wallace and Gromit short.
Another thing worth mentioning from this short is that it's full of reference and curious facts, starting with Mickey, who apparently owned a Sega Genesis. We can see that from his game, which looks a lot like the games from that console. Continuing with the game, when Mickey's character dies, we hear the classic Wilhelm scream. This scream has been heard in hundreds of movies, TV shows, and even video games. On his house walls, there's a poster with some cheese inside a mousetrap, with the text, "Just say no." This is a reference to a US government campaign from the 80s and 90s with the same name. It was part of the so-called war against drugs, and it was about telling young children to say no to these substances. Remember, kids, just say no.
Later, when Mickey arrives at the scientist's house, there's a clear reference to The Exorcist. And before he knocks the door, we hear Mickey singing part of the song from his first appearance in Steamboat Willie. When Mickey falls into the lab, we can see he wasn't the only one, as a suit from the Lion King was sucking to it as well. Then, the scientist introduces himself as Frankenolly, and besides being a reference to Frankenstein, it's also a combination of names of two important animators, Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston, who work on The Incredibles, The Aristocats, Lady and the Tramp, among others.
When Julius is looking at Mickey's photos, we see one in black and white from Steamboat Willie. Mickey tells him, "Oh, haha, that's all." At first, it's funny, but if we think about it, this photo is from a 1928 short, making Mickey Mouse 67 years old at the time, and he looks fine. That dang mouse has aged like fine wine. Later, when Julius and Mickey recover their bodies, Zazu appears again, flying out from Julius's mouth. At the end of the short, we see Minnie and Mickey wearing swimsuits. What exactly is being covered by Minnie's top? She's always naked from the top. And finally, during the credits, we can hear the same song Mickey was whistling, but in a Hawaiian version. Oh, and as an extra fact, Julius appears as a secret boss in the video game Kingdom Hearts 3D.
What?
It sounds like this short was a bit ahead of its time, as nowadays it's considered one of the best Mickey Mouse shorts. A good idea executed at the wrong time, even if its reception did affect Disney. This is because Mickey has been kept away from the world of short films. After Runaway Brain, we only have had Get a Horse on 2013, which was also nominated at Best Animated Short on 2014. And even if it didn't win, the mere fact that it got nominated is a great accomplishment.
But if you think this is the scariest Mickey Mouse short, that's because you haven't seen 1933's The Mad Doctor. But that's a story for another video. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, we invite you to like, share and subscribe. We love you all, bye!